Did you know that according to the New Testament, there is only one God? Did you know that? Well, I'm going to be proving that according to the New Testament, God, there is only one God, not a triune God, not a compound unity God that can split himself into three, but there's only one singular personal God. Uh, okay, so the verses I'm going to be citing is James chapter 2 verse 19 and 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. Okay, so let's start with James chapter James the book of James chapter 2 verse 19. It says, "You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder." Now let's get into now notice what James is saying. You believe that there is one God. Emphasis on that word one. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus. So again, notice what 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5 is saying. For there is one God. One God. All right, so the question really arises, what is the Greek word used in both those verses? The Greek word for one is heis. What does heis mean in Greek? Heis means one. Like you see this Sharpie pen? There's there's only one Sharpie pen. There's only one Sharpie pen, not a compound unity Sharpie pen, not one Sharpie pen that can be split up into three, but one singular Sharpie pen. Same thing with the Greek word heis. The Greek word heis means one, as in the numerical one. And how do we know this? We know this. We know this using or reading other Greek verses of the New Testament. I'll just focus on one to save time. If we read the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13, verse 1, it says, "Out of the temple, one of his disciples." So the Greek word heis is used to mean one of Jesus' disciples, not a compound unity one of Jesus' disciples, not a unity of Trinity of one of Jesus' disciples, but one singular person, one of the disciples, as in the numerical one single person of the disciples. In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13, verse 1, that word heis is used there to mean one. Same thing with the book of James, chapter 2, verse 19. Heis means one singular being. So the book of James, chapter 2, verse 19, and 1 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 5, is saying that there is one God, as in there's one singular person of God who cannot split himself into three and cannot be a compound unity, because that Greek word heis is clearly pointing to one, as in one person who is a singular one and not a compound unity one, like the Hebrew word akkad, which is used in the Hebrew Bible to mean one. Same thing with the Greek word used in the New Testament. The Greek word heis used in the New Testament means one. It can't mean a compound unity any more than the Hebrew word akkad, which appears 900 times in the Hebrew Hebrew Old Testament, means one. So this refutes. So these two verses, the book of James chapter 2 verse 19 and 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5 prove that according to the Greek New Testament, there is only one God who is a single person and not a compound unity person, or not one person who can split himself into 3. Stay tuned. More videos are coming up debunking the divinity of Jesus using only the New Testament writings itself.